Today we're going to talk about what the film Billy Elliot is all about. And we can say that the story of Billy Elliot is about a young boy who decides that he doesn't want to be a boxer and wants to be a dancer and achieves his goal. But we can also say it's about the power of passion to overcome adversity. We can say that what the film does is it challenges viewers to follow their dreams regardless of the barriers that are in the way. And it's certainly a story of a boy who achieves his dreams despite the barriers that are placed in front of him. And so some of the things that are sort of obstructing Billy in his pursuit to follow his true potential is the gender expectations and assumptions of his society. So the expectation that he will behave the way that all boys behave and pursue the sports and those type of things as all boys should do. He's also limited in his ability to achieve his goals because of his economic situation. The hardship and adversity that he faces causes him quite a lot of barriers he hasn't got those opportunities that might come if he was from a different background, if he lived in a different world. Okay, so certainly we're going to talk about the film, tracing Billy's journey from innocence to maturation, from a child to an adult, and it's a really nice cathartic moment at the end of the film, right at the end of the film when Billy dances Swan Lake. That signifies him achieving his dreams and fulfilling his goals and being a real success. So when we think about it, this story is the story of a young boy who comes from a hard background, who works hard and achieves success. And it's not a new story, it's been around, that story's been told many times. So we have to ask, well, why do we like this film? And what is it about it that makes it, worthy of our time? And why does it endure? Why is it still relevant today when it was made in the year 2000? And really the thing that makes for a good story is the artistic embellishment of this, classic story of rags to riches type story. It's the way in which the story is told and the way in which film is used to construct those ideas and to present that message that makes it endure, gives it integrity. So when we look at Billy, he's the protagonist of the story, and what the film's doing is it's exploring his reaction to the world around him. So he's young, he's a little bit insulated from the expectations and all the maybe the bullying or just the manner in which people are forced into particular roles and behaving in particular ways. And certainly we observe him come of age. He enters that world, he moves from naivety into the harsh realities of the behaviours of people because of the expectations they have, the gender roles, the social expectations. And I've used the term predetermination here. At the start of the film, we assume that Billy's life is predetermined for him. We can see that, and we certainly see it with his older brother Tony, that it seems that he has no choice, that he is going to grow up and he's going to be a man, he's going to love boxing, he's pushed into that avenue, he's going to work in the mines, and he's going to follow his father's footsteps, who followed his own fathers. There's a tradition, obviously, in this family, but in every family in the town, that the natural direction one takes is that you grow up and you enter the mines and you provide for your family and you repeat that cycle. And this film's really interesting because it does have a cyclic nature. So it begins with Billy dancing, full of passion, and then we have this long journey, this long character arc, or story arc that's being developed. but the film returns with celebrating dance at the end too, and so it's changing the structures of the narrative of life in a working class town. And so yeah, I've just got here that the way in which the story is constructed is really interesting, because we've got that progression of Billy's a child, he will turn into his brother, and then he'll turn into Jackie as an old man, and he'll have kids and repeat that cycle. So it's an interesting approach to telling this story. Now the soundtrack's great. There's some great songs in the film, and one song at the start of the film is a town called Malice by a band called The Jam. And really it captures what they call is the zeitgeist. It captures the climate of the era, of the working class town in London. Not London, in England, sorry, in Britain. And it's the same in most working class towns in that part of the world. So it's a town full of anger. Malice means anger, and the economic climate of the 1980s saw that the neoliberalism of the Thatcher government were breaking down the unions and trying to make more money for the large companies at the expense of the workers. So there's a lot of anger in the town. The town's at a boiling point, and there's it's ready to spill into violence. It's just there's that climate of anger and hostility, and Durham, the town, is symbolic of all the working class towns in the country at the time. The film is very effective in showing how Billy is trapped by his circumstances. We've looked at his economic hardship and the constraints of the expectations placed upon him. He also is living in a world of men, the masculine domain. His mother has died, and he's left to basically sort of survive in a realm that doesn't have any maternal influences. And what this causes is it does cause that internal tension for Billy. And what Daldry does is he composes this message visually to accompany the narrative that's being presented. And what Daldry does, the director, Daldry, he places Billy in confined spaces. So rather than having him out in open spaces with lots of movement, there are lots of shots of him in doorways, for example. If we have a look here, my beautiful drawing of a door, which shows that it's a nice visual representation of his restriction. The world is sort of closing in on him. When he's dancing and he feels free and he's living his passion, there's a lot of movement and a lot of space around, and that you'll notice that the shots are filmed differently. So the doorways are used as motifs to show restriction. If you look at that scene where Mrs. Wilkinson confronts Jackie and comes to the house and talks to Jackie about Billy's potential as a dancer, Billy runs away and he has to get out of that situation. And the next shot you see after that is him sitting in a space with brick walls around him, and so this is another example of how they're showing the walls are closing in on him. The life that he lives is and his ability to move beyond that are very limited, and it shows and that emphasises and reinforces the absolute success of his achievements. So what's a good thing to do when you've got that idea and you want to explore a point that you're making? Yeah, it's a good idea to go and examine some scenes. So go and hit the pause button and look at how Daldry has constructed that message. So you've got to step out of just saying Billy does this and he moves on and he transforms. You've got to be looking and saying, well, what the director is doing is he's conveying that, he's constructing that idea through the filmic techniques that he's using. So when we do pause, it's called mise en scene. It's where you study a frame and how it's constructed, how the scene is laid out, and that's really important in your film analysis, in your essays. Okay, so one thing we can do is, and it's really important, is that you get that idea and you connect it. So here's a question: how does the film show Billy's conflict between his dreams and reality? So you can look at how movement is used to show his passion, his dream of dancing, and how the town, is closing in and it's very sedentary, that type of thing. You can look at use of colour. There are all sorts of things that you can tap into there. Okay, but certainly what we're looking to do is provide analysis. And so what you need to do is really unpack how things have been constructed. Okay, and that's what we're really looking at. So that pretty much sums up the first component of looking at Billy and how he's been constructed. In the next tutorial, what we're going to look at is the internal conflict that he experiences and what contributes to that, and how the film has been developed to explore those aspects.